This is ABC.
Coming up on Night Watch, the long-awaited return of the USS Samuel Roberts. A fiery plane crash kills a pilot and a student in South Florida. And who collects seashells by the seashore? We'll tell you. Good evening. I'm Greg Coy. Night Watch is next.
Mayor Tommy Hazouri.
As mayor of Jacksonville, I'm dedicated to finding out what your concerns are and to do my best to see that those concerns are addressed. One Sunday evening every month, I'll be here on WJKS to answer some of your questions about our city, what the government is doing, where we've been, where we are now, and where we're headed for the future. Join me here on Channel 17, and I'll try to answer some of your questions.
Talk back to Mayor Tommy Hazouri, Sunday at 6:30 on WJKS Channel 17.
You're watching WJKS, home of Night Watch. News with Greg Coy, AccuWeather with Beth Campbell, and sports with Glenn Fisher. And now, Night Watch.
A most welcome sound, the signal that the USS Samuel Roberts has finally returned home. Good evening, everybody. I'm Greg Coy. The USS Samuel Roberts, the guided missile frigate damaged by an Iranian mine in the Persian Gulf, is back at its home port of Newport, Rhode Island tonight. The crippled frigate arrived on the back of the heavy-lift Ship 2, Mighty Servant 2. If you recall, 10 crew members aboard the Roberts were injured when the ship struck a floating mine in the Persian Gulf on April 14th. It had just completed escorting a U.S.-flagged Kuwaiti oil tanker. The plan now is to refloat the Roberts and take it to the Newport Naval Complex. A National Transportation Safety Board team plans to go through the wreckage of a fiery plane crash in Avon Park, Florida, tomorrow. The pilot of a twin-engine Piper Apache and a student were killed when the plane stalled less than a mile from the city airport. The plane went down in a junkyard. An eyewitness said a tall pile of junk cars prevented the aircraft from crashing into a nearby house. The people at the scene said they rushed to the rescue of the couple, but when they arrived, it was too late. Meanwhile, 2 people are dead tonight following a head-on collision between 2 freight trains in Des Moines, Iowa. It happened near the suburb of Altoona. Residents were evacuated for fear of an overturned tanker car would explode. The overturned car contained denatured alcohol. It's not known how fast the trains were going or why they were on a collision course. A suspect in Friday morning's early shooting at the Waffle House restaurant on Bush Drive is under arrest tonight. He was arrested while traveling in a car along Moncrief and New Kings Road this evening. He's identified only as a 17-year-old male. Police know who he is, but are not releasing his identity because he's a juvenile. Atlanta police still don't know the names of 10 anti-abortion protesters arrested near an abortion clinic. 13 protesters arrested yesterday are calling themselves Baby Jane Doe or Baby John Doe. Reporter Jeff Dorr has the story.
The Atlanta Women's Clinic is in an office building in Buckhead. Early this morning, members of Operation Rescue entered the building and blocked the door. When they wouldn't leave, police brought them out.
Give us this day our daily bread.
Some wouldn't walk. Police strapped the heavier ones to wooden stretchers to carry them out. Once in a jail bus, the protesters sang anti-abortion songs and hymns and made speeches.
We're not trying to just stop them. We're trying to help them make a correct decision.
Operation Rescue, a national anti-abortion group, has focused on Atlanta. More than 100 members are in jail refusing to give their real names. The city says prisoners can't be released if the courts can't find them to stand trial, so the protesters remain.
As with everything we do, is not simply to make a point by talking about things, but to actually put our bodies between the killers and their victims.
Operation Rescue organizer Joseph Foreman was arrested at an abortion clinic July 19th.
We're pleased to see that the number of people here are substantially less. There were about 9 arrests, I understand. That means they have not been able to turn out the people who are willing to come get arrested.
The operators of the abortion clinic say 5 patients had entered before the demonstration and 30 were inside after. Some entered while the demonstrations were going on.
Some residents in Neptune Beach are protesting those First Street barriers. Some First Street residents say the barriers are making life easier for them because the barricades have cut down on cruising cars.
We can be outside and not feel like we're always upset by the screech of brakes and the loud noise from the exhaust of automobiles going by. And the children can go by. I see the little children on on their bicycles, and they're a lot safer.
But residents of 2nd Street say much of the diverted traffic is now disturbing their peace.
They only stop about 50% of the time at the stoplight. Up here we have a four-way stop. When they do, they just toss their beer cans right out into the lawn. And it makes for kind of an unfortunate circumstance.
Neptune Beach Mayor Ish Bryant says there's nothing that can be done to reverse the council's decision to keep the barriers. He says once permanent barricades are built, they will have signs on them clearly directing traffic to 4-lane 3rd Street. Now, if you're driving to the beach tomorrow, Beth Campbell is here with the first weather to tell us if the weather is going to be good out there in the sand.
It doesn't look like the weather will be a barrier, at least not tomorrow morning, but get there early, folks. We're looking for a pretty good round of thunderstorms, and it looks like most of the thunderstorms, which have been around the area tonight, are starting to subside, at least. Still quite a bit of cloud cover and quite a bit of rain left across northern Florida, and southern Georgia has really taken a lot of heavy storms today. The storms will be ending. We're looking for a low of 74, and then tomorrow, afternoon thunderstorms once again with a high of 92, but we have a tropical wave in the Straits, Greg. I'm going to tell you all about that later on in the show.
Okay, thanks, Beth. With today's 90-degree-plus weather, celebrating Christmas was probably the last thing on our minds. But at the Springfield's Women's Club tonight was a Yuletide feast for two worthy causes. The first was to collect toys for Judge Dorcas Drake's Christmas toy drive for needy children. The second was to raise money for the restoration of the Springfield Women's historic building. As with all Christmas celebrations, there was decorations and music. Still to come, dozens are injured in the South African bomb blast. And scientists zap away unwanted birthmarks. Those stories when NightWatch continues. In the world tonight, at least 57 people are recovering this evening from injuries received in a bombing at a South African shopping plaza. The blast occurred just after noon at a fast food restaurant located 12 miles east of Johannesburg. No one has claimed responsibility for the bombing. Fighting broke out again between Iran and Iraq as Iran's foreign minister talks with UN Secretary General Perez de Cuellar. The Iranian diplomat refused comment on today's conversation, but de Cuellar says he's still working on pressuring both sides to work towards peace. Former U.S. Representative Barbara Jordan, who rose to fame during the Watergate hearing impeachments, is in critical condition tonight. Jordan was found floating unconscious in a swimming pool at her home. Jordan, who suffers from a bone disease and uses a wheelchair, was swimming alone. And people in the entertainment industry are mourning the death of songwriter Irving Berlin's wife, Ellen. She died Friday in New York following a series of strokes. She was 87. Some children are born with a red birthmark on their head, similar to the one you've seen on Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev's forehead. Well, tonight, Dr. Michael Bren reports that lasers are now being used to zap these often unsightly birthmarks away.
Dan Dykowski has a large port wine stain that covers the right side of his face. It also covers his right arm. The so-called stain is really millions of microscopic blood vessels beneath his skin. If you think it makes Dan self-conscious, you're right.
It makes, I think, people a little awkward when they meet me for the first time because it's, you know, it's a negative as far as making a first impression.
This laser can remove the vessels that cause a port wine stain without damaging the skin. That's because the laser's energy is absorbed only by objects that are red. Assume the white balloon is Dan's skin, and the red balloon inside Dan's blood vessels. Watch what happens.
There we go.
The treatment itself will take months, but these before and after pictures show just how effective that treatment can be. Best of all, the laser produces so little scarring, it can even be used on children.
Now we can start using the dye laser on kids that are 3, 4 years old. Get rid of these port wine stains before they go to school and get teased, and it does a lot for their self-esteem.
The new laser should also do a lot for Dan Dykowski. His dream is something the rest of us take for granted.
I would just like how I look not to be so important to people. I'm more judged by my assets rather than my looks.
I'm Dr. Michael Breen reporting.
After the break, the winning numbers in the Florida lottery. The jackpot is growing. Do you feel lucky? And the fish in with sports to show us why he can tell college football is just around the corner. The booster clubs are starting to roost. $12 million is up for grabs tonight in the Florida Lotto jackpot. We don't know who won and won't know who won until tomorrow or Monday, but a recent national survey shows the decision whether to quit your job and retire depends on your current job. 67% of the executive survey said they would continue to work, while 70% of the staff workers asked said they would quit. And that was tonight's consensus of those we asked.
Quit the job, sell the house, move down south.
I'd take a vacation for a while and then try to find something to do. Keep me busy.
The winning lotto numbers drawn tonight are 38, 32, 12, 20, 18, and 42. That's 38, 32, 12, 20, 18, and 42. And I'll tell you, the fish is right here looking through those numbers. If you won, come on, are we quitting if we won?
No, I'd be here.
I'd be here. I really like this place,
I like
really.
it. Yeah, I do.
Are you going to take me on a vacation?
If I win?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take you someplace. You know, you can tell when the football season is near. The Gator Booster Club lets its hair down with its annual summer bash. Now, over 1,000 Gator fans getting into the spirit at the Civic Auditorium, stocking up on souvenirs and getting the opportunity to shake hands with Gator coach Galen Hall, a moment this fan will cherish forever. And they get the young ones into the program at an early age. Listen up.
Number one.
The subject tonight was football. A lot of conversation about the woes of the basketball program, mirrored in a drug probe and allegations of coaches paying players.
I think if they're guilty of the drugs, they need to clean their act up. You know, whether they play, whoever they play for.
If they're guilty of drugs, and you know, if that is actually the case, then I think they ought to be suspended. The players ought to be suspended, and they ought to get back in the program the way it should be.
I just wish I could say it was a falsehood, but I hope they can get it straightened out for the better of the university.
It's bad. You know, nobody likes to see a Gator put down, but I feel we'll do good. We'll come back.
And the Georgia Bulldog Club hosting Vince Dooley at a reception tonight at the Marriott South Point. Dog fans paid tribute to Dooley, who's been at the helm for 25 years. Dooley says, look for the Dogs to be tough this season.
We'll have a good football team. I think we'll be in the hunt. There's about 6 teams in the hunt. I think it's more balanced than ever before, and I'm just pleased that we'll have a good football team, and we'll have a chance like 6 others.
Okay, Vince. Jacksonville's Patty Moise lasted 57 laps in today's ARCA race up in Talladega. Moise won the pole for the Permatex 500. She was running among the leaders when her transmission broke. Grant Adcock dominated the event, winning by a half a lap, his 5th win in Talladega in the last 6 tries. Well, one of NASCAR's premier events, the Talladega 500, will be run tomorrow with Darrell Waltrip on the pole in his Tide Chevy. Now, one of the up-and-coming stars of the NASCAR circuit, Rick Wilson of Bartow, just outside of Tampa. Wilson in the number 4 Oldsmobile always dreamed of being able to run with the big boys, and he thanks A.J. Foyt for putting him in that position.
I would ask him questions, and for some reason, you know, he'd answer them and help me, where he wouldn't talk to anybody else. I don't know if he just liked me or whatever, and the relationship grew. You know, he just helped me along. If it wasn't for A.J. Foyt, I probably wouldn't be around right now.
Wilson has already won a pole at Bristol, Tennessee, and he fell just inches shy of his first ever win, losing to Bill Elliott at the Firecracker 400.
Getting that close to winning the race really boosted everybody. It was the starting point of the halfway season, and it was a good boost going into the second half.
Wilson will start from the 25th spot. He qualified at 189.6 miles per hour. Well, the American League East has turned into a 3-team dogfight. The Tigers maintaining their slim 1-game lead over the Yankees and the Red Sox. The Tigers tonight with a big win over Texas. They beat the Rangers 3-0. Tom Brookins with his 5th home run of the season comes in the 6th inning deep to left field, gives Sparky's gang a 3-0 lead. That's the way they hold on. Tigers win it 3-0. The Red Sox continue their incredible Fenway Park streak behind the 13K performance of Roger Clemens. The Cy Young Award winner gets his 15th win. Marty Barrett singled home the winning run in the bottom of the 9th. The Red Sox beat Milwaukee 3-2, their 19th straight. At Fenway, they are 15-1 since the All-Star break. All right, other numbers. The Yankees maintain pace. They beat Toronto 3-1. Minnesota over Cleveland in a game called after 7 because of rain. It is official. California over Chicago. Looks like a football score there. In the 7th, Kansas City leads Baltimore. National League, Houston over Los Angeles in a big way. San Francisco beats Atlanta. New York shuts out Pittsburgh. Philadelphia 3-2 over Chicago. And Montreal beats St. Louis by a run. 3 golfers share the lead After 3 rounds of the Buick Open, Australian Steve Elkington, Scott Verplank, and Howard Twitty all at 14 under par, heading into tomorrow's final round. And Chichi Rodriguez leads the seniors event up in Concord, Massachusetts by 3 strokes. He's looking to win the Digital Classic for the 3rd consecutive year. Former FSU and Oakland Raider wide receiver Fred Biletnikoff gets congrats there from former Gator Chris Collinsworth and his induction into the Pro Football Hall of Fame today. Chicago Bear coach Mike Ditka also enshrined for his play as a tight end with the Bears. Jack Ham, the former great with the Pittsburgh teams back in the 70s, also inducted along with Alan Page of the Minnesota Vikings. As for the game itself, Cincinnati beat L.A. 14-7. 19-year-old James Haley of Lake City is the nation's best in the modern pentathlon. Haley won the National Junior Championship in the event today in San Antonio, Texas. Now, the event includes pistol shooting, fencing, running, swimming, and horse jumping. Haley will compete for the world title in Cairo, Egypt in October. Now, congratulations to that young man from Lake City.
I'll tell you, Fred Biletnikoff was great. I remember watching him when I was a diehard Raiders fan, and he was fantastic.
Used to watch him over Tallahassee. Great receiver, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Fish. When the Night Watch continues, Beth Campbell will tell us if it's worth going to the beach tomorrow. And if you plan to go, we'll tell you about a shell show you might want to check out.
From behind the headlines of the rich and famous to ordinary people with extraordinary stories, all on a current affair.
Some of Mother Nature's decorations of the sea will be on display tomorrow at Jacksonville Beach. The Jacksonville Shell Club is holding a show featuring displays of worldwide land, sea, freshwater, and shells and fossils. There are even arts and crafts made of shells. The cost to buy one of these works of art range anywhere from $1 to $1,000. The shells will be on exhibit tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Jacksonville Beach Flag Pavilion. Well, Beth Campbell is here to tell us that the rain is coming outside, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got some fireworks going on out there. Not as bad as a lot of southeastern Georgia saw in Nassau County tonight. What a lightning show in that area. Also winds up to 50 and 60 miles per hour. Right now we do have some thunderstorms out there. It looks like they should be with us through around midnight. After that, until 1 or 2 o'clock, we're going to see some light rain. So if you plan to be on the roads, keep that in mind. First, let's talk about what happened earlier today. We got up to another dog days of summer, afternoon high of 94, and last night's low 74 degrees. Right now, cloudy skies and rain and storms overhead. The temperature down to 81, our humidity 82%. Our barometer trying to climb, and the winds have calmed down for the time being anyway. Lots to talk about on radar. We have quite a bit of activity right now on the west side, and some brand new storms have just popped up in Clay County. They're now moving into Orange Park. Also in Nassau County, some pretty heavy thunderstorms still going on. These are moving to the southeast at 7 miles per hour. All kinds of damage reports out of central Georgia tonight because of those strong thunderstorms in that area. Quite a few communities reported downed trees and also overturned trees. Some electricity out in several cities. Also in Augusta, hail rattled through that area. But that's not the only stormy system we have to talk about. We're also watching a tropical wave, which is right now extending from the Florida Straits across Cuba and on into the central Caribbean. It is moving to the west, so it's going to be moving on through the Straits tonight and also tomorrow. That means some heavy rainfall for the southern tip of the state tomorrow. It's moving to the northwest at about 20 miles per hour. So it really looks like it is going to miss us. We're more or less going to be sandwiched in between two storm makers. Still in all, it's going to be a sunshine sandwich, at least during the morning hours. But Florida and Georgia aren't the only stormy spots tonight. We've got a very powerful frontal system, which is also creating a fuss along the Great Lakes tonight. As a matter of fact, winds have been gusting up to 70 miles per hour. That has downed trees and flooded streets in a lot of spots in New York and also Pennsylvania, and there has been quite a few reports of as much as an inch pouring out of the skies in as little as 15 minutes. Now, ahead of this system, we also have a drippy system to talk about. All it is really is an upper-level disturbance, but the point being, it looks like it's starting to head our way. It is a wet weather maker. It's actually just an area of unstable air which is traveling ahead of this front, but it's sagging southward. So by tomorrow, it should be in our area, and that's going to trigger a few more afternoon showers than we normally normally have. So keep that in mind. Our rain chance for tomorrow afternoon, 50%. But before all of that wet stuff gets here, we will see a pretty decent amount of sunshine during the morning hours. In the meantime, high pressure will be in control. That's going to keep this front away from us anyway. Along the front tomorrow, 1 inch of rain expected for some areas. But in those scattered late-day showers we're expecting, we only should see about 1/4 inch or so. The marine forecast for tomorrow is calling for a light chop with a nice warm surf temperature of 80 degrees. Here's a look at your tide times. We'll see the sun come up at 6:44 and go back down at 8:21. And the dog days of summer are most certainly here, hot and humid by day, still warm and humid by night, but our best chance of rain within the next 4 days, tomorrow. So if you head to the beach, bring an umbrella.
And the lawns will love it.
Yeah, that's true.
Thanks, Ben.
Okay.
Well, the Night Watch continues. Have an urge for a munchie? We'll show you a man who's trying to eat his way into a world record when Night Watch continues. On the Night Watch calendar for Sunday, the Seashell Show at the Jacksonville Beach will continue tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Jacksonville Beach Flag Pavilion. The Mayport Naval Station tomorrow will offer tours of the USS Dale, a guided missile cruiser. The Dale will be open from 1 to 4:30 p.m. Call the base for more information. And Jacksonville jazz lovers will have the chance to see the Woody Herman Band in concert tomorrow night at Applejacks at San Marco at 6:30 and 9 p.m. And finally, a story about a man who definitely has a Big Mac attack. Paul Dickinson's goal is to eat in every McDonald's in the U.S. Now he's not being paid by the hamburger company. Steve Hartman reports.
Paul Dickinson flew to Chicago earlier this week, not to visit friends, not to visit relatives, but to visit, you guessed it,
About every week or every other week, I'll fly to a different city and usually rent a car and go around, go to McDonald's.
Yeah, just a cheeseburger. Over the next 5 hours, Paul will eat at 20 different McDonald's. A lot, but not a record. Paul once ate at 57 McDonald's in one day. Do you ever get tired of McDonald's? Yeah. I would think so. But Paul is determined to hit all 7,700 McDonald's in the U.S. How many more to go today?
19.
We gotta go.
This is 3,485.
We're now at 3,487. We've hit 9 Chicago McDonald's so far. Paul's had 1 cheeseburger, 1 French fry, and 7 Cokes. And now it looks like an ice cream cone.
Went here, 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 and now we're going to this one. Usually I go to about the first 10 or 12 McDonald's, and after that I'll have to stop about every third one.
For what?
To go to the bathroom.
You would like to go to all of them?
Sometimes I wonder, and I may not be able to, depending on where and when they open. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to try, and I'll get as close as anybody ever will.
In Chicago, I'm Steve Hartman reporting.
Amazing. Simply amazing. And that's Night Watch for Saturday. For Beth and Fish, who's still upset that he hasn't won the jackpot, thank you for joining us. Glow is next. Good night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.